හරිම සුමුදුයි.
Tonight on First at 9 this Saturday, the 20th of April 2024. Uncover the truth. Revelations made that an ex-senior DIG had petitioned that the military intelligence misled the Easter attacks investigations. Towards growth. The Paris Club assures support for Sri Lanka in achieving sustainable debt. OPEC fund meanwhile to assist the island nation through project-based financing. Remain vigilant. Extreme hot weather to continue until the 10th of May, says the Met Department. And high hopes. Government expects to sign a deal with Sinopec on the construction of an oil refinery in Hambantota.
ඔබේ විශ්වාසය දෙනු සෙන්සුරයින් දැන් ළඟමැති ෆාමසියෙන් ලබාගත හැක.
This is Ada Derana First at 9 with Anuradhi Wickramasinghe. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
A very good evening. You're joining us on First at 9. Thank you for taking the time to tune in for the latest updates. Spokesperson for the Archdiocese of Colombo, Reverend Father Cyril Gamini, raised 8 concerns pertaining to the Easter Sunday attacks with the Criminal Investigation Department. Quoting a petition filed by retired senior DIG Ravi Senaviratne, Reverend Father Gamini said that the military intelligence has taken measures to mislead investigations by presenting false reports that the murder of the police officers in Vaunathivu in November 2018 was perpetrated by the LTTE.
Spokesperson of the Archdiocese of Colombo, Reverend Father Cyril Gamini, was summoned to the Criminal Investigation Department yesterday to record a statement in regard to the Easter Sunday attacks. After being grilled for nearly 4 hours, the Archdiocese spokesperson left the CID. This morning, Reverend Father Cyril Gamini addressed the media to explain the information he provided to the CID while recording his statement.
I presented 8 concerns that have not been revealed so far along with their sources to the CID. The first concern was the murder of 2 police officers on the 20th of November 2018 in Vaunathivu. Then senior DIG Ravi Senaviratne was informed about a jacket worn by motorcyclists that was found by intelligence authorities near the crime scene. Our concern is who put the bag containing the jacket in the culvert. Secondly, the retired senior DIG Ravi Senaviratne stated that the foreign intelligence services detected an IP address that was often used to communicate with Zaharan. We have concerns about who used that. Thirdly, the petition filed by retired DIG Senaviratne mentions that the military intelligence has taken measures to mislead the investigations by presenting false reports in 4 occasions stating that the murder of the police officers in Vaunathivu was perpetrated by the LTTE. The fourth concern is the phone call received by Abdul Latif Jamil, who exploded a bomb in the Tropical Inn Lodge in Dehiwala. Before he attempted to explode the bomb in Taj Samudra, he received a phone call that was clearly recorded on CCTV cameras. Our concern is who called him at that moment.
Further, spokesperson of the Archdiocese of Colombo, Reverend Father Cyril Gamini, also raised concern over the statements made by former supporter of State Minister Sivanosathure Chandrakanthan alias Pillayan, Asad Maulana, in the expose Sri Lanka's Easter bombings dispatches by the UK's Channel 4 and a person who operates under the alias Abu Hind to the Criminal Investigation Department.
ප්‍රතිඥා 7ක් ඇතුළත් ප්‍රත්‍යක්ෂයක් අදින උන්වහන්සේට බාර දෙනවා. උන්වහන්සේ මේ සම්බන්ධයෙන් මොන වගේ මතයක දින්නේ? ඒක බාරගත්ත පමණයි.
The Cardinal has only received the letter. That doesn't mean we accept it. We have to study them. We are not trying to justify it as the best.
මේකෙන් තමයි කරන්න පුළුවන් කියන එක හරි. හැබැයි බොහෝ දෙනා කරන චෝදනාවක් තමයි පාස්කු ප්‍රහාරයට සම්බන්ධ ඊබ්‍රහීම්ගේ පුත්තු දෙන්නෙකුත් මෙතනදී බෝම්බ පුපුරවාගෙන මැරුණා. ඒ ඊබ්‍රහීම් නියෝජනය කරේ ජනතා විමුක්ති පෙරමුණේ ජාතික ලයිස්තුව. එහෙම පුද්ගලයෝ ඇවිල්ලා රාජිනල් වහන්සේට ප්‍රතිඥා බාර දෙනවයි කියන එක එක විහිළුවක් වගේ කියලා තමයි හුඟක් අය කියන්නේ. ඉබ්‍රාහිම් වරදක් කරලා තියෙනවා.
If Ibrahim has committed wrongdoing, charges need to be filed against him following a proper investigation. Are we in charge of doing that? Such an investigation has not taken place.
ඒක එහෙම කරලා නැහැනේ.
New Dulux Pentolite Hygiene Plus. Refreshing walls for generations.
Now, on the sidelines of the World Bank IMF spring meetings in Washington, D.C., the Paris Club's co-chairman William Roos assured the Sri Lankan delegation of the Paris Club's continued support to Sri Lanka in the island nation's quest to achieve debt sustainability. Meanwhile, the president of the OPEC fund, Abdul Hamid Al Khalifa, informed the Sri Lankan delegation that the OPEC fund had taken the decision to assist Sri Lanka through project-based financing in view of the ongoing economic reforms adopted by the government.
The Sri Lankan delegation attending the International Monetary Fund and World Bank spring meetings in Washington, D.C. met with the co-chairman and Assistant Secretary of Multilateral Affairs, Trade and Development Policies Department of the Paris Club, William Roos. State Minister of Finance Shehan Semasinghe noted that the delegation discussed the progress of Sri Lanka's negotiations with its official creditor committee and other stakeholders with the Paris Club co-chairman. The State Minister highlighted that Roos assured the Paris Club's continued support for Sri Lanka in achieving debt sustainability. The delegation also called on USAID's Deputy Assistant Administrator for Asia, Anjali Kaur, to discuss possible collaborations between Sri Lanka and USAID, including on the country's ongoing governance reforms. During the course of discussions, the USAID official had emphasized the necessity of continuing reforms undertaken by the Sri Lankan government over the past 2 years. Discussions also took place between the Sri Lankan delegation and the president of the OPEC fund, Abdul Hamid Al Khalifa. According to the State Minister of Finance, Al Khalifa had informed the delegation that the OPEC fund had decided to assist Sri Lanka through project-based financing.
The Department of Meteorology advises the public to take preventative measures to avert the prevailing extreme heat conditions. The Met Department forecasts temperatures felt to the human body will be in the range of 39 degrees Celsius and 45 degrees Celsius in several provinces. According to Director General of the Department, Atula Karunanayake, the hot weather conditions are expected to continue until the 10th of May.
Since the past few days, most parts of the country, including Colombo, have been experiencing heat waves contributing to excessive hot weather conditions. During the past 24 hours, the maximum temperature of 37.2 degrees Celsius was recorded in Anuradhapura and Vaunia districts. Taking this situation into account, the Natural Hazards Early Warning Centre of the Department of Meteorology issued an amber warning, noting that the heat index is expected to increase up to caution level at some places in the northern, north-central, western, Sabaragamuwa, eastern, southern and northwestern provinces and Monoragala district. Under the caution level, the Met Department says that the heat index will range between 39 degrees Celsius and 45 degrees Celsius in the areas. Warnings were issued that fatigue can be felt due to prolonged exposure and activity. The Met Department urged the public to remain hydrated, limit strenuous outdoor activities and wear lightweight, white or light-coloured clothing. The Met Department added that the prevailing extreme weather patterns are likely to continue until the 10th of May.
විශේෂයෙන්ම මේ සවස් යාමේ හෝ රාත්‍රී කාලයේ වැස්සුවල්පයක් සමහර පළාත්වල ඇති වෙනවා.
Light rainfall is likely to occur to several areas during the afternoon or night. However, due to the low levels of rain forecast, the prevailing heat conditions are likely to continue. However, a considerable amount of rainfall is anticipated from 10th of May onwards. These heavy rain patterns are likely to occur in the southwestern parts of the country. This includes the western, Sabaragamuwa, southern, central and northwestern provinces. As a result, the soaring temperatures are expected to gradually decrease during this period.
However, in its daily weather forecast, the Met Department anticipated thunder showers to occur in the western, Sabaragamuwa, central and northwestern provinces and in Galle and Mathura districts. It added that rain can be expected during the afternoon or night time tomorrow.
The final rites of the founder president of the Sarvodaya Shramadana movement, late Dr. A.T. Aryaratne, were performed this evening with full state honours at the Independence Square in Colombo. The late Dr. A.T. Aryaratne passed away on Tuesday at the age of 92.
Born in 1931, Dr. Ahangamage Tudor Aryaratne, widely known as Dr. A.T. Aryaratne, is the President Emeritus of Sri Lanka's largest non-government movement, the Sarvodaya Shramadana movement. For more than 63 years, Sarvodaya, which seeks no poverty and no affluence in Sri Lanka through community-based efforts and volunteerism, has continued its service to the people and Sri Lanka even today. As a result of this contribution, Dr. Aryaratna received many national and international awards in recognition of his commitment to his nation and its people. In 1969, he earned the Ramon Magsaysay Award for Community Leadership from the Philippines. Late Dr. Aryaratna was awarded the title Deshabandhu in 1986, and in 2006, he received the Lanka Abhimani Award for the services he rendered to society. On 16th of April, Dr. Aryaratna, who was at the age of 92, passed away while receiving treatment at a private hospital in Colombo. The remains of late Dr. Aryaratna was brought to the Sarvodaya headquarters in Moratuwa on Wednesday, and the public was allowed to pay their final respects until noon today. Later, the remains were brought to the Independence Square in Colombo. At around 4 p.m., the final rites of late Dr. Aryaratna were performed with full state honours.
Please allow me to present the condolence message of the President. Both Dr. A.T. Aryaratna and I have worked together on numerous social welfare projects. The concept he used in creating the Sarvodaya movement was to uplift the community by allowing them to contribute with their strength. I convey my condolences to the family of Dr. Aryaratna.
ශෝකය පළ කර සිටිමි. ජීවිතය ආදර්ශ සම්පන්න කරගත් මේ බව පතල කළ මිනිසත් බව එකතු කළ මහත්
The group of Sri Lanka Freedom Party members supporting former President Maithripala Sirisena, who was temporarily barred from functioning as the party's chairman by the Colombo District Court, held a Politburo meeting today to discuss the party's internal crisis. However, expressing their objection to the meeting, the party's national organisers Duminda Dissanayake and Lasantha Alagiyawanna termed the meeting illegal. Addressing the media, Dissanayake said that the party's acting chairman, Nimal Siripala de Silva, is the only person authorised to call a Politburo meeting. To discuss the internal crisis that has loomed within the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, a Politburo meeting was called by the group of members supporting former President Maithripala Sirisena, who was suspended from functioning as the party's chairman by the Colombo District Court. The meeting was held under the patronage of the party's acting General Secretary, Dushmantha Mitrapala. However, the party's treasurer, Lasantha Alagiyawanna, and national organiser Duminda Dissanayake, who also participated in the meeting, have expressed their objection by calling it an illegal gathering.
The acting General Secretary of the party has called a Politburo meeting. This meeting is against the law because the court has suspended Maithripala Sirisena from functioning as party chairman. Taking that order into account, we called a Politburo meeting and appointed Nimal Siripala de Silva as the acting chairman of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. Accordingly, a meeting can only be called as per the instructions of the acting chairman. Taking that order into account, we called a Politburo meeting and appointed Nimal Siripala de Silva as the acting chairman of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. Accordingly, a meeting can only be called as per the instructions of the acting chairman. Taking our legal rights into account, we participated in this meeting and expressed our objection. Even the acting chairman expressed his objection.
රාජපක්ෂ මහතා ජනාධිපති අපේක්ෂකයා ලෙස නම් කරන්න යනවායි කියලා නිදහස් පක්ෂය. විජේදාස රාජපක්ෂ මැතිතුමාව සභාපතිවරයා බවට පත් කරන්න කිසිම සාකච්ඡාවක් අපි කරලා නැහැ. ඒ වගේම මම දන්නේ නැහැ විජේදාස රාජපක්ෂ මැතිතුමාට සමාජිකත්වයක් තියෙනවද කියන එක. එතුමා ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂයේද කියන එකවත් අපි දන්නේ නැහැ.
Now, the United National Party's General Secretary Palitharanga Bandara alleges that the cardinal, who was once deceived by Gotabaya Rajapaksa, is about to be deceived once again by the JVP-led National People's Power. With that, let's take a look at some more views expressed in the political arena.
First,
the cardinal betrayed the country to Gotabaya Rajapaksa. The country's citizens are still suffering from the consequence of that decision. Knowingly or unknowingly, he is about to repeat the same mistake again. This time, he is about to betray the country to an even worse group. We have to question whether his goal is to create an alliance between the JVP and the sons of Ibrahim, who was a figure closely related to Zahran's group, who were the ones that led the Easter Sunday attack.
The father of some of the bombers is in the national list of a certain party. The best way to conduct this investigation is for that party to question their national list candidate. We must also raise the question of why it took them 5 years to do so.
I would like to make one thing clear. Sajith Premadas's victory will not be an ordinary one. He will receive an overwhelming amount of support from the public. He will secure 52% of the vote.
ශ්‍රී ලංකා පොත්ජන පෙරමුණේ ලාංඡනය මැතිවරණ පත්‍රිකාවේ තියෙනවා.
පක්ෂයේ සමාජිකයෙක්ද කියන එක තාම
පක්ෂ ව්‍යවස්ථාවට අනුකූලව අපි ඉදිරිපත් කළ යුත්තේ පක්ෂ සමාජිකයෙක්.
සන්දානගත වෙනවද ඒක යටතේ වෙන කවුරු වෙන්න පුළුවන්.
We will see what an alliance will bring. There is a certain entrepreneur who intends to be the president. There is also a cabinet minister who intends to do the same. We will discuss the matter further and take the best possible decision.
බලමු අපි සාකච්ඡා කරමු. අපි ඉදිරියේදී හොඳ තීන්දුවක් ගමු. පිස්සෝ කලබුණාට දොස්තර කලබල වෙන්නේ.
There is no need to panic based on comments made by certain groups. Ranil Wickremesinghe is the one who revived the country from the crisis, and there is only a small amount of work left to be completed in that process. The opposition will remain as the opposition, and Ranil Wickremesinghe will remain as the president.
The Ministry of Defence stated that the general amnesty period announced from the 20th of April to the 20th of May for members of the Tri-Forces who have been marked absent without official leave is not applicable for commissioned officers absent without official leave. In a statement, the Defence Ministry noted that the 1-month general amnesty is valid only for the Tri-Force personnel of other ranks who have not reported to work without leave on or before the 31st of December last year. Further, those who report to work will be legally discharged from their respective services during the particular period. However, the amnesty will not be applicable to several personnel in the Army, Navy and Air Force, including absentees who are currently abroad and other rank personnel who are currently abroad seeking discharge. An official delegation from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs will visit New Zealand from the 22nd to the 25th of April in order to attend discussions related to the opening of the Sri Lankan High Commission in Wellington. The delegation, which will be led by the Director General of the Overseas Assets Management and Development Division of the Foreign Ministry, Pradeepa Seram, will engage in meetings with officials of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Trade of New Zealand and other related agencies and stakeholders. New Zealand opened a resident mission in Sri Lanka in 2021. In January this year, the Cabinet of Ministers approved a proposal presented by Foreign Minister Ali Sabri seeking to establish a High Commission in Wellington. The resident mission is expected to improve community outreach provided to the significant Sri Lankan expatriate community residing in New Zealand. One person was hacked to death with a sharp weapon last night following a heated argument between two parties. Meanwhile, 4 persons, including 2 naval officers, were apprehended yesterday with crystal methamphetamine in their possession. And with that, here's a look at more news across the island in brief.
A 43-year-old was hacked to death with a sharp weapon last night in the Valachene area. According to police, the attack was due to an escalated argument between 2 parties. The suspect of the incident was arrested by the Valachene police and investigations into the matter are currently underway. In the meantime, 4 persons, including 2 naval officers, were apprehended yesterday while in possession of crystal methamphetamine. 510 grams of methamphetamine, estimated at 7.5 million rupees, was recovered by the Mullaeriyawa police during the apprehension. However, following a detention order issued by the Halfsdorp Magistrates Court, the arrestees will be detained until the 26th of April for interrogations. In other similar news, 2 foreign women were arrested by the Narcotics Control Unit of the Bandaranaike International Airport in Katunayake while attempting to smuggle in 500 grams of cocaine. As per preliminary reports, nearly 40 capsules of cocaine were extracted from the 2 women and the street value of the contraband is estimated to be around 20 million rupees. The arrestees were handed over to the Police Narcotics Bureau for further investigations.
Welcome back. Minister of Power and Energy Kanchana Wijesekara expressed hope of signing an agreement with China's Sinopec on the construction of an oil refinery in Hambantota by June this year. Addressing a media briefing yesterday, Wijesekara said Sinopec is currently negotiating certain aspects, including land logistic requirements and port access with the Sri Lankan government. In November last year, Sri Lanka approved a proposal by China's Sinopec to build a $4.5 billion oil refinery in Hambantota, making it the largest single investment in the country since the economic crisis that took place in 2022.
So Hambantota refinery, we have decided to award it to Sinopec Refinery Company Limited. So they are negotiating on certain aspects on the agreement right now. There are concerns on how the water supply is going to be provided for the refinery requirements, and they want to increase their capacities. So when they increase their capacities, the land extent that they need to have, the logistics requirements that they need to have, port access in Hambantota, the water resources access, and also the BUI conditions. So accordingly, we have given our recommendations and our decisions. I think they will probably come back by May this year, and we are hoping to sign the agreement once everyone has agreed on the principles of the agreement. I think it should be signed by at least by June this year.
We have indications from Sinopec that they are actually looking at increasing the exposure to the internal market in Sri Lanka. Is that also the case, or how is that?
No, only up to 10% of the volume is allowed for domestic sales, and there is no commitment by the government to purchase anything. That is the EUI conditions. We won't deviate from our EUI conditions. Negotiations are still going on. Financial negotiations are going right now with the Adani Group and the Ministry. Actually, the Cabinet appointed Procurement Committee and the TECs. So there are certain parameters that they are negotiating, but I'm hopeful that there will be a decision by the Cabinet appointed Procurement Committee and the TEC, and with the Adani Group, they will agree on certain aspects. Maybe by May, we hope to conclude the negotiations.
Sri Lankan Airlines says it is currently modifying its flight paths for European destinations as a precautionary measure amidst the current tensions between Israel and Iran. In a statement, the national carrier noted that these changes mean that flight times to Europe are extended, requiring additional fuel and reducing the available payload. Sri Lankan stated that additionally, in order to meet slot times in London, these flights are being advanced by 1 hour. The airline said further, adding that some passengers on the London flights unfortunately have missed connections or been offloaded as a result. The airline asserted that it will maintain the routing and the earlier departure time to London for the next few days while monitoring the situation. However, the departure times from London and to and from other European cities remain unchanged. Sri Lankan Airlines noted that it is in direct communications with affected passengers, providing assistance with alternative flight arrangements and hotel accommodation. PLC conducts an awareness program to empower small, medium and micro enterprises of the country. Meanwhile, SLASCOM Women in Tech Conference 2.0 was held recently in partnership with the International Finance Corporation and the Government of Japan. With that, here's a look at more corporate news in brief.
An awareness program to empower the medium, small and micro enterprises of the country was recently organized by the HNB PLC on financial control and scaling businesses. Centered around their digital transaction banking platform, the session educated participants on how the platform could help them work towards seamless and efficient financial control, and subsequently how they could manage their payments, cash flow and even tap into the global trade. Centered around their digital transaction banking platform, the session educated participants on how the platform could help them work towards seamless and efficient financial control, and subsequently how they could manage their payments, cash flow and even tap into global trade. In addition, HNB Bank further enables enterprises of any size to gain complete visibility and management over payments, cash management, global trade, value chain financing, treasury and settlements of foreign currency transactions. In the meantime, the SLASCOM Women in Tech Conference 2.0 was held recently. Themed Accelerating Gender Equality and Inclusivity for Economic Empowerment, the event was organized by the International Finance Corporation of the Government of Japan for the second consecutive year in Sri Lanka. Chairman of SLASCOM, Jehan Perin Panayagam, underscored the importance of leveraging women's diverse perspectives and talents to drive innovation and emphasized the moral obligation to ensure equal opportunities and representation in the tech sector for a more inclusive industry. Also in corporate affairs, the Nation Lanka Finance PLC announced the appointment of a director to the company. Accordingly, Kosala Suranga Vimalasiri was appointed as a non-independent, non-executive director with effect from the 18th of April. The company further stated that the newly appointed director does not have any shares of the company as at the date of his appointment.
And that wraps up tonight's edition of First at 9. Join us again tomorrow at the same time for more. Thanks for watching. Good night.